Oh, what is going on, guys? I can't believe this. I was rambling on for like 10 minutes. Well, not 10 minutes, 6 minutes. I thought I was live, but I didn't press the live button. So I've been talking to myself this whole time. Anyways, we're live. Welcome to the Unconventional Mindset. My name's Odum. We're going to start this all over. And what we do here is we get together every day, Monday through Friday, and we live stream our process of building ourselves a company that's going to generate us $1 million in revenue every single year. And of course, we run Pixel Media, which is a website designed. Now I'm just so nervous that I'm not live, so I'm just kind of keeping looking over. It's a website. We build websites for clients, and the primary tool that we use is Webflow, which is kind of why we're going to be talking about today. And we also built Pixel Pieces, which is a Webflow template and component library. So we're going to do something a little bit different today, and we're going to just kind of go over what was talked about at Webflow Conference 2024 yesterday at the keynote, and all the announcements and the different tools and everything that they announced. And we'll just see from the perspective of somebody who's a web design agency. I don't know if I'd say so much of a Webflow agency, but we definitely use Webflow for now, and it's a great tool. And but yeah, so just give it from that perspective of somebody that builds websites for clients, and how this is going to affect us, and which announcements and which features are maybe more exciting or more relevant to the work that I do, and just kind of what I'm excited about. So yeah, just kind of my opinion here on what was announced yesterday. So let's jump into it right now. So this is just a screenshot, or just stopping it here at the actual, just the replay of the keynote presentation. And I really like this graphic because it showed an overview of everything that they announced during the keynote. The only thing I think that's not here is that they purchased the GSAT, whatever the JavaScript library that allows people to make really cool animations. They purchased that, so that wasn't on here. They purchased that company, so I'm sure they're going to be doing some really cool native integrations with animations. I think that's really cool. So that's a pretty cool feature that that I'll be looking forward to, or just watching, in the future to see what they do. So yeah. Anyways, let's just go over these things and just give my thoughts on it. And one thing that was really interesting during the keynote presentation was that you could get a sense for how excited generally the people in the audience were based on like how loud they were clapping and cheering. Because I remember for things like the client payments and the project fees, like I don't think anybody clapped at all for any of those announcements. Like, yeah, nobody cared about that. But yet when they were doing some like the API stuff and the AI assistant, I think people were like cheering a lot harder. So I thought that was pretty interesting there. Yeah, okay, so let's just get into it here. So they announced this new navigation, and they were showing that off, and I was just like, yeah, it looks cool. So I think that's just kind of like UI improvements. So anything to make the UI a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to navigate, I'm all for that. So no problems there at all. The page building, so I don't think I've ever used that page building before. But when I was looking at it, it looked pretty neat, and I think there could be some potential for me to integrate that into my workflow, considering how I build pages and templates of pages for my clients, and being able to quickly spin up new pages based on what it is that they want. If they want new pages, I think that'll be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to maybe trying that out a little bit more and maybe integrating that into my workflow. So that was pretty cool. So I like that. The component style variants, again, I think that was really cool. And to be able to organize your components better and in a more efficient way, and then also to be able to have variants so that you can kind of change them based on, like they showed in the demo, whether you want something horizontal or vertical or what have you. I think that was really, really cool. And I'm looking forward to that. And because the components are really, I don't know, I love using them, and I use them for as much as I can, really. So now that we can have different variants, and it was really cool too before, because you can have different options in terms of the text within the variant, the components, but now to actually be able to style them differently, I thought that was really cool. So that's one of the things that I'm actually probably the most kind kind of excited about. So that was really, really cool. So, right, what else do we have? The design approvals. So I think with that, if I'm not mistaken, that was something that is something that's only going to be available on enterprise plans. And this is what probably would be my biggest disappointment. So I'll talk about the draft changes and single items published. I think that's pretty cool. I really like that, to be able to publish certain things while other things are still in like draft mode, or in like you're working. So for example, so like I have some clients, and a lot of the times I have to make a specific section and I have to update the content, and it has to be reviewed by like a bunch of different people throughout the whole process. And then I get feedback, and then I do it, and then I, update it or whatever, but it's still kind of in draft mode. But then they'll come in and say like, hey, we need this new post published, or we need this new page updated, or whatever. And then that stuff needs to be pushed live. So there's a really big disconnect when that happens, because I can't publish a single page or a single item. So being able to publish single items is going to be really, really helpful. But the problem that I see is that from what they were demoing, is that, you guys could let me know if I'm wrong about this, which I hope I am, but I don't think you can single publish static pages. It was only CMS items, I think. So if that's true, then that really kind of sucks, because a lot of the work that I do with my clients is I'll create a whole new section, like a static page of, slash, just think of like websites, like photography. And then they have a new section of like video. And then there's like a bunch of different pages under the video. So there's like 5 new static pages, and those all need to be approved. And then whenever there's new blog posts or another page that needs to be updated, I have to basically put it to draft, publish the staging so they take a look at it, and then when you publish them the staging, they're published, or they're staged for publish, and then you have to like put them back to draft just so you can publish something else. So it's really, the workflow is really, really annoying. And in the enterprise plans in Webflow, you absolutely can have, what can you have in enterprise? You can have branching. So my biggest disappointment, this is a roundabout way of saying, my biggest disappointment was the fact that they did not release, or it looks like they're not going to release, branching for anybody. Even if it was something crazy like $50 a month or whatever, I would pay for that for specific clients that need that, because it is that critical to my workflow, and then makes the workflow really, and I'll even probably talk about this at some point, like how I manage and how I workflow larger websites that have lots of moving parts, and that have things that need to get published at different times, without having to use going to the enterprise plan, because my client is not going to pay the $2,500 a month to jump from like the business plan or whatever it is to enterprise. Like, that's not going to happen. So that was unfortunate. It was really disappointing, but we'll see how this draft changes and single items published, see if it works. And if it works outside of the CMS, that would be really, really helpful. So that being said, okay, the CMS APIs updates, I don't really work very, very much with Webflow APIs. So to me, that's not really going to affect me. But again, I think that's going to help a lot of developers that are really wanting to integrate and do some really cool things with Webflow. So I think that's a welcome feature, but not something that's really going to affect like for me in my agency and the work that I do. The CMS list scale, I think that's going to be pretty cool if you can do multiple nesting CMSs in one page, because I think there was a limit that you couldn't do that, or you could do it once and then that was it. And I was like, oh, this is so stupid. So that'll be welcome. So that'll be really, really good. Just again, more control over what you can do, which is nice. The form updates, I think there was some stuff they were talking about, like built-in native like spam filtering or whatever, or so people can't spam the forms. That was really cool. So, because I know I had to use like other tools like CAPTCHA or something like that. So if it's going to be built in, whatever just makes it easier, I'm all for that. The way that they handle the forms is not the best. So if there's any way that they can improve what happens once a form is submitted and where that data goes, that would be really good. Because right now, for most of my forms, like it goes in through Webflow, of course, but I also use Zapier to send out emails to different people depending on the form and all that kind of stuff, and just to send out that information. So if they can do that natively a little bit better, that would be great. But yeah, so I don't know. That was okay. Localization updates. I only have one client that's using localization, but being able to do some different styling in localization is awesome. So that was really cool, because I remember I was doing stuff. It's like, I can't style things differently if it's in this language versus the other one. And now if they're going to have that, I think that's really, really cool. So that's just another cool tool to have in our toolbox as Webflow designers moving forward for our clients. Just more services that we can offer our clients, which is really, really cool. So really happy about that. The AI assistant. So they spent a lot of time talking about AI, and it's an interesting topic for me, because it's definitely a love-hate relationship with AI. So it was really cool how you can prompt the AI and then how it would build things, but based on your current like design system or what's in your variables and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really, really cool. And how it could even generate the content, how helpful that's going to be. I don't know. And I don't know how often I would use that unless I was specifically hired by a client to help them write content and help them manage that content. But it could be super helpful if you're just putting together placeholder content or whatever. So I don't know. It's very interesting, and I think I would need to play around with it more to see how I could integrate that into my day-to-day workflow with just I don't know, just with my just thinking about my workflow and how I would use it. It's tough. I could definitely see how people will get really excited about it, especially how you could use it to help you build specific sections in your website. I thought it was kind of funny during the demo. They were showing how they use AI to change the color to like the background color to another color, and I was just like, you could just do that with the click of a button. But I think they were just showing, again, I only saw the keynote, so I didn't see any of the workshops or anything when they're going more in depth into it. But I feel like it's just going to be a tool that's just going to grow and become more and more powerful. But something to keep an eye out, and it's going to be interesting to see how it continues to develop. So that was cool. So the big things here that are coming up, and I think that are really going to help a lot of agency owners be able to maybe expand on the services that they offer. And those are the things with Analyze and Optimize. So the thing with Optimize, however, I think it's expensive. I think it starts at, if we go to look at right here, this Webflow Optimize. So I think the pricing starts at $300 a month. Yeah, so it starts at $300 a month and then up, usage-based pricing. I don't know what that is yet. I think they're still probably trying to figure that out of what it's going to be. But it's going to be pretty pricey, right, for people. But given that price, I still think that it's going to be, I don't like to use the word game changer, but I think it's going to be really, really helpful for agency owners to be able to provide an additional service to their clients to say, hey, listen, how would you like it if on a month-to-month basis, we're going to continually work together to try to improve in almost like every aspect of your website, how well it performs, like marketing-wise or sales funnels-wise, right? So say, hey, we're going to work on improving your conversion rates from your this call to action section or whatever the case may be. So there's so many different avenues that you can go with having a tool like this that's built in native into Webflow to help you as an agency owner be able to deliver value for your clients. So I know that people are looking at the price and probably being like, oh my God, that's like so expensive. But again, I think you need to think about it in the context of how much value you're going to be able to give clients and what that's going to be worth for them. And I think it depends on the type of client you're serving. If you have a client that, only wants to pay you $1,000 for a website and that's it, like that's not a serious client. They're not going to want to use this kind of stuff, right? So you're thinking about we're a medium-sized company that's looking to grow, looking to figure out how to get more traffic and how to get more people to stay on their sites or to increase a certain part of their company or the certain type of their business, and figure out how to get more people in the door and how to improve sales, all that kind of stuff. The tools that are going to be available in Optimize are going to be fantastic for that. And I'm really looking forward to potentially using this I could already think of one client that might really need this or might really want this in their website. So I'm just trying to think of how I could kind of package that into an offering that I will provide for my clients. So super excited about this Optimize thing and what it could mean for me and my agency and the services that I could provide my clients. So I like it. I just wish there was a way to demo what it can do without paying. Like just how you can play around with Webflow for free without staging a site, or without like putting it on a domain, right? You could just use it on, the webflow.io domain. It would be really cool if you can play around with Optimize the same way, just to kind of see what it's like. That would be really, really cool. Anyways, so looking forward to that. The whole client payments and the project fees, I think that's really cool. But to me, what gives me pause about that is that Webflow had already had their billing system. And they even talked about this, because so many people were pissed off that they're like, hey, they're sunsetting this whole feature. And rightfully so, because you're integrating that into your business. And now they're bringing it back. And then they're also going to be adding like project fees. So like if I charge a customer $1,000 a month in just like a retainer or whatever the case may be, right now I'm just using whatever software I'm using to charge them, but now I could integrate that into Webflow. So that's kind of cool. But the fact that they had it before and they took it away, it makes me pretty nervous to say, like, what's to say that in 2 years' time, they're just going to take it away again? So if I just put in all my whole billing ecosystem into Webflow, it would be nice and handy. But what if they remove it again? So that's where it always becomes a little bit, I'm wary of putting all my business eggs in one basket, which would be like the Webflow basket. Kevin, Rolando, how's it going, guys? Welcome. Is it possible to play with Webflow without paying? Yeah, 100%. You can go in, create a free account, and you could build a site. You can have CMS access. You can have all that access, and you don't have to pay a thing until you're ready to actually publish it to a domain. So you can't attach a domain to it. So if you create a Webflow site, it'll be like Rolando's Webflow, awesome Webflow site. And then you could play around with it, and then you could publish it even on, rolando.webflow.io. So you can have that. People could see it. A lot of people, like when people make themes and all that kind of stuff, you can make like 100 of them and not pay a dime to Webflow. And then people can actually see it. So yeah, definitely play around. Hello, by the way. Yeah. Sorry, my comments are still not working, so I got to fix that. And Kevin was just answering, yeah, you can do quite a lot before ever paying. Yeah, and I don't know if you caught this when I was saying this, but with this new Optimize feature, which I think is going to be amazing, I don't know if you can play around with that before paying. You can with localization. So maybe we'll be able to do this with Optimize as well. So I'm pretty sure you can with localization. You can like, what is it? You can play before you pay, something like that. So yeah. So anyways, in terms of the client payments and the project fees, yeah, cool. But I'm just cautious because they had it before and they took it away, and I don't know, just cautious. And I guess the last thing they said, they were talking about marketplace updates, and that was pretty funny too because she was talking about this and like nobody was clapping. It's like no, everyone was like, yeah, we don't care about that. But that being said, there was something that really caught my eye when she was talking about marketplace updates, and she said something that people that make templates are going to be able to sell them outside of the marketplace. And I was just like, what? That is really, really cool. Because if we look at, let's go to Pixel Pieces. So we have templates right now, and there's just two here. We work on more, whatever the case may be, right? But we have a clone and a demo. So when you go here, demo, and Rolando, this is what we're talking about. So this is like nakedflow.webflow.io. Like I don't pay for this website at all, but it's just here. I could publish it, and there's no payment. So you can build whatever you want and just publish it to their domain, and then you're good to go. Anyway, so we have the demo and the clone, but what I always wanted was, and we talked about this, just like a pay, right? So if I had like a pay now button, and if I could do that where you don't have to go to the webflow.com/ like this marketplace, right? Where can we go? Like templates. Okay, stop being so slow. Right, and then there's this one, because I think like if you want to buy this, you can only buy it here. So what I would have to do if I wanted to sell it, I'd have to just go to buy, and then it would just link to this page, right? So I don't necessarily, like if they're, again, I don't know how they're going to work this, but if I can just buy now, and it could be throughout my own checkout process or whatever. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that would be pretty neat. So anyways, that caught my eye. So I was like, that would be kind of interesting to see what they do with that. So Rolando, could you make a tutorial about this, please? What specifically is it that you would like me to make a tutorial on in terms of using Webflow, or like how to use Webflow without paying for it? Just let me know specifically, and yeah, happy to make that. Absolutely. That's awesome. Are we, Rolando, slowly but surely convincing you to get onto the Webflow train? The one thing I was thinking about with Webflow, especially because I'm still working on the blog post, and I was just doing like the table for the pricing. It's expensive. That's the problem. And I know for you, what you're saying, it's like, you're working in Mexico, and then it's US dollar. So it's like even more expensive, currency conversions or whatever. And then, a lot of your clients probably won't be willing to pay that price. And I totally understand, because it's almost like double the price, maybe even more, depending on what the different services and the types of features that you're going to need. So yeah, it's expensive. Okay. Oh, the last thing to talk about is analyze. So I remember I was looking at this. I'm like, okay, native analytics. Okay. So very interesting. To be able to see it right within your dashboard is pretty cool. So I like that. But one of the questions that I had, and I think they didn't really talk about this, but they brought it up in terms of using, I think they were using like the FinSuite tool and maybe another tool to be able to provide consent to your visitors on collecting analytics and collecting personal data about people. So, because I think it's probably going to be pretty specific. I would imagine in terms of the stuff they collect, it would be basically like a Google Analytics alternative, but they might follow those users around. Like, I don't know. So it's very interesting. They spent a lot of time. I thought it was pretty interesting. They spent a lot of time talking about data and privacy. And I feel like they had Adobe in their mind saying, hey guys, just to be clear, you own your data. We're not going to train our AI on it. We're not going to do any of that stuff. They spent a lot of time reiterating that stuff because they were talking a lot about AI. So I thought that was pretty interesting in how, as a company, they're really trying to position themselves as, these champions of transparency, and we're not going to do anything with your data. We're not going to train your AI, our AI with your data. But yet they do need to use the AI to be able to build your stuff based on your own your own style guides. And so it's interesting. It's interesting to know how they're going to actually use it. But anyways, Rolando, I'm looking for alternatives. Otherwise, I will have to make major adjustments to my business plan. Yeah. FinSuite recently rolled out paid components, which include cookie consent. Yeah, the cookie consent. Yeah, that's the thing right there. Sliders and more. It's frustrating that Webflow doesn't have native cookie consent solution, but on WordPress it is built in. Yeah, and for me, this is why I go with, like, I use Fathom Analytics. Oh my goodness, I had to log in because let's see. Do I have any traffic? What is this? Oh, this is for today. But anyways. the analytics that it collects, it gives me the information that I need, at least in terms of how many people are coming to the site and what pages they're actually going on. And it doesn't collect any personal information, so you don't even have to do any kind of cookie consent because it doesn't collect that. But if you're going to do stuff like analytics, and especially if you're going to do stuff like optimize, you are collecting a shit ton of data on your customers. You have to, because otherwise, how are you going to get these insights? So there's going to have to be some kind of cookie consent or whatever. So yeah, definitely frustrating that it's not built in, especially if they're going to be having this, right? So why wouldn't they kind of put that as part of the product? Especially if this is going to be $300 a month. Like, build that stuff in. It would be really nice. But, I'm sure they're doing the best that they can, whatever, So I'm not going to lambast them too hard. I think they're moving in the right direction. So Rolando, so you're saying you're looking for alternatives. Yeah. So, I mean, would it be almost like, would you like to see a tutorial on, or some kind of videos on just like how to use Webflow, like as an agency owner? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what's the best kind of content that I can make for you. That'll, at least help you make a decision one way or the other. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, if there's anything you could do to just give me more specifics, I'd love to, I'll try to help you out as much as I can, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. The thing too is, I feel like for you, you come more from a more of the developer background, the designer platform, than the designer aspect of it. Like doing more of the back end and the front end. So I feel like there might be more of a learning curve for you with Webflow because it is a visual designer, right? So that's kind of, at least that's kind of how they started. I think that's just something to keep in mind in your case, in your situation. Right. So anyways, back to the analyze, I think it'd be really cool. And the things that would be super excited about, I think that will come in the optimize, and I don't think it'll come here in the analytics. But if it does, it would be really cool because we know how we had to use Mixpanel. No, it's not gonna. I have to get a code. But anyways, we have to use Mixpanel to be able to track. Let's log in here. So this is a Webflow application. So we use, every time someone copies a component, we use Mixpanel to track that. And then you got to go to Mixpanel and you have to look at stuff there. So if that could be built in natively into the analytics, that would be really cool because then I could see what people are clicking on. But I don't know if does it track clicks and like events? It kind of, look at this, top events, download the app button. Yes. So this would be really cool. I would probably, well, again, I don't know. See, I don't know if I'd pay for it. Actually, it would probably be worth it instead of having to rely on Mixpanel. So anyways, bottom line is I'm pretty excited about this because I think this will be really good. But again, $30 a month, man, I feel like that's expensive. Again, too, see, this is what I'm saying. The optimize, I was like, it's not really expensive because think about the value you give to your clients. Because they spend $1,000 or $1,500 a month, or maybe even more, depending on the size of the company, to be able to do better business, right? Because it'll just make them more money. But then for me, it's because I have to pay for it personally out of my business. I'm like, it's too much money. But that being said, if I can get those insights, that'll be really great. But I guess the thing, I look at the price, it's like Mixpanel is free, and I'm getting the exact same data from Mixpanel. So why would I pay extra money to Webflow just to get the same stuff? But of course, the fact that it's native is super awesome. That's what's really, really good. So, does Analyze provide insights down to the individual site visitor? No, it doesn't do that. Yeah. Right. But the Mixpanel can, and Mixpanel again is free up to like whatever. So I think they would have to do a little bit more with this, or I would have to check it out more to see whether it'll take me away from third-party apps like Mixpanel. Again, because of the price. That's the biggest thing. Now, again, this is my kind of initial, just thinking about this, initial feedback and thoughts on this. So things could definitely change. So Kevin, you pass the cost on to your clients if they want the data. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah. Absolutely. Rolando, I recently saw how they made a website and the code was cleaner than with Bricks, which is the builder I use. So yeah, I mean, you can, even in Webflow, there's definitely the ability to be able to download the code for your website, and then you could use it to host wherever you want to. So there's that option. And in terms of the how clean the code is, it's not bad. Actually, well, it's pretty good. Just the straight HTML and the CSS. So that's nice. But I don't know how many people actually use that feature where they use Webflow, they design and they build everything in there, and they just export the code and just host it somewhere else. I haven't seen too many people. Actually, I haven't seen anybody that uses Webflow in that way, which would be interesting. But it's definitely a possibility. But I think for that though, to export the code, you have to pay for it. So you can't. They don't let you do that for free, which I guess kind of makes sense. There's one other thing too I want to mention. I thought this was really funny yesterday. So Kevin, I think you were probably watching the keynote as well too. So, and I don't know if I guess they do this on Apple. I've never seen an Apple presentation because you guys know how much I love Apple. But it was in the presentation. Let's see if we can find it actually. I just thought this was hilarious. Where was it? Oh, I think maybe it was around here. My goodness. If I can't find it. Yeah, I think it's coming up.
Swimming in a sea of tools.
Registration is open from ads or
Oh my goodness, I can't find the exact spot, but basically it was a spot where they announced, it's like, oh, here's the big thing that we're going to announce. And then they're like, it's the Webflow experience platform. And then people started cheering. And I'm just like, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. Why is everyone cheering? I don't even know what it is yet. Like, why am I cheering? So anyways, I think there's some stuff, I don't know if there's memes about it or whatever, that when Apple announces something, introducing whatever, and people are like, and it's like, you don't even know what it is. Like, why are you so excited? Or with the iPhone, it's like, it looks like the exact same phone as last year. What's the big deal? Anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny during the keynote. Because I don't know, maybe for me, I'm always so analytical with things. Like, I need to know about what this is first before I just kind of blindly cheer. Yeah, because I think it's, again, I think I said this at the beginning of the live stream here, is although I love Webflow and it's the platform that I use right now for building all my websites, but I'm not married to Webflow. If there's a tool that ends up being better or something that I see fits the needs of myself and my clients better, I'm all for going to that other platform, right? So I'm not married to that, and I don't, love everything that Webflow is ever going to do and just stand by it. It has to make sense for me and the work that I do. Yeah. The cadence of cheering was very awkward. Yeah. And like I was saying, when they were announcing all the new payments, bringing that back, and then the new marketplace stuff, and then the new, just whatever the new payments, and I think the billing, whatever. Like, nobody cheered for that. So it was really weird. And I think the reason why, and I mean, these guys are the people that were on stage. I mean, they're like developers and product managers or whatever the case may be. They're not like presenters, but I feel like it was just, a little bit too scripted for them. And then that made it a little bit weird because they're like, when are people going to cheer? And it's almost felt as if they kind of maybe scripted it in a little bit. So that's why it was a little awkward, but I don't blame them, or there's no problems with the presentation, but you could just tell, right, when someone is used to being on stage and actually presenting and knows how to read the audience and can flow with it, as opposed to, we're going to say this, people are going to clap, and then we're going to move forward, and then like no one claps, and then it's like awkward. Yeah. So I don't know. That was interesting. Yes, the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 16 are crap. Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, when the iPhones first came out, or when it first came out, it was really, really cool. And I remember I had an iPod. Is it iPod Touch? I don't know. It was just the iPod that was like a phone, but it didn't have a phone. So I love that thing. That was the coolest thing. That was like the only Mac product that I had ever purchased. So I loved it. I shouldn't say that. And my wife has the iPod Shuffle, like the little one that you just clip on, and she just uses that for running. So those are the only Apple products we ever bought. And those were fantastic back in the day, like the OG iPhones. And iPhone 4, I think that's when it like peaked, at least for me, in terms of like design and whatever. And just not these big, massive phones that like, anyways. Welcome to the world of Apple. Steve Jobs changed the way marketing is done worldwide. Yeah, and it's interesting too. I don't think I'm a big fan of like these big presentations, because the thing too is like, oh, we're gonna release, this is our new thing, and it's coming next year. It's like, oh my god, like I could kind of use it now, but you know, I guess it just builds the hype or whatever. So, but it's kind of nice though when I'm in Webflow and then I just log into my account and they're like new feature, and like oh cool, I like that. So I like just kind of almost being surprised, and then I just know that they're constantly improving. But whatever, I don't know, it's neither here nor there. It is what it is. Anyways, I guess overall, Kevin, what are your overall impressions? Like, what do you think? Do you think any of this stuff that they mentioned is going to like change any of the way that you work with Webflow? Are you more excited about it? Is it like indifferent? What do you think? Oh man, that was good. All right. So I guess it's day 2 today. I don't know if I'm going to watch I'll probably have some stuff on live, but yeah, I don't know. All right. So Kevin, I'm not sure if you're still here, to answer that. So yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts of everything. Here we go. The client billing is exciting, but I'm most excited for the GSAP integrations. Yeah, that was a very interesting announcement there, which was kind of cool. I get so overwhelmed trying to follow tutorials to implement something with GSAP, and then it always goes wrong. Interesting. Yeah. So I guess if it's integrating or it's integrated, then hopefully it'll be easier because it'll just be built in. So that'll be kind of nice. So, and also the fact, I guess it'll be interesting to see how much it's going to cost as well too, if that's going to be another add-on. And I feel like that's kind of the way that they're going, where everything is an add-on. So it's like, oh, do you want this? Add-on. You want this? Add-on. You want that? Add-on. So it's almost like, I feel like it's like WordPressy-ish, where you have the core thing is, oh, I want a plugin, I want this, I need like a plugin. So it's interesting, but they're calling it add-on. So yeah, I don't, that whole way, I guess it's really good because you can kind of plug and play what you want. And I guess too, because it's not like an external plugin, it's like a native thing that you can just bring in. So I guess that it is kind of cool. You can kind of mix and match what makes sense for your clients. You can have the client that spends $3,000 a month on Webflow stuff, or you can have the client that spends $13 a month or whatever the low package is. I think it's more expensive than that, but so that's pretty interesting. I don't think it'll be an add-on. I think it'll be a new update to interactions. Well, that's interesting, but because GSAP or is it GSAP or GSAP? So because right now, I mean, you have to pay for it, right? I guess it's free. I'm actually kind of curious right now. Right. So yeah, it's $100 a year if you want to the bonus plugins. Oh yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wonder. I guess it would be nice if it is just integrated, right? And then you don't have to pay extra for it. That would be nice. So, yeah. But maybe it's good for these guys to, because that's how they make their money. But if they just integrate it into Webflow, then it just gets more people using Webflow. So, um, yeah, but good for these guys though. That's kind of cool when you create something, a product, and then like a company kind of buys you out. That's kind of cool. So good for those guys. That's awesome. Love seeing that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's totally cool. Lots of free features within GSAP. Some plugins are paid. Yeah. So Rolando, this is done to finance production with the pre-sales of products, as well as with active listening on social media to be able to estimate the inventory they will need. It is a marketing tool. Yeah, that's really cool. If you don't spend the time to think about it, you're just like, I don't get it. But yeah, that makes total sense what you're saying about how to, like, you can just, you can go on social media, you can see what people are saying about it. And maybe, I guess it even gives you time to maybe do a little bit of pivoting if you need to, based on what the initial feedback is when you do kind of go on stage and launch the thing or whatever and hear what people have to say. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's really cool. Webflow is the Apple of web builders. It costs you even without using it. I think I will say from what you're saying, you can use it and you could use most of the tools for free. So, I think I do agree in some sense that it is kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased too because I use Webflow, but I could see how the comparison that it's kind of like Apple. It's like the Apple products of like the website builders. Yeah, it could be, or maybe Framer would be like that more. I don't know, but you can use it for free and you can use a lot of their features for free. So, I will say that there's nothing in Apple that I think that you can use basically for free. But with Webflow, and this is how I learned, is that I signed up, I had my free account, and I was just playing around and learning how to use it and learning how to build websites 100% for free. Like it's a full-fledged, you have access to the full designer, the full editor, all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking to figure out kind of how to use it and see if it's for you, you can do it without spending a single penny. So you might want to check it out. I don't know. All right, guys. That's kind of it. Those are my thoughts for the Webflow Conf. And I guess I will say that overall, I'm pretty happy with everything that they announced. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that I think is going to help us as agency owners provide more value for our clients. So that is a really big plus. So I really, really like that. Again, my biggest disappointment is that they did not release the ability to do branching to other plans other than just the enterprise plan. So for me, branching, it's getting to the point now where it's, like I said, the workflow to deal with a client that pretty much needs branching and you don't have that, it's pretty tough. So it really, really sucks. So that's really disappointing. So nobody in Webflow is watching, but if for some reason it gets out there, if you can bring branching even as like an add-on, that's like $50 a month or whatever. I mean, maybe that's a little bit pricey, but I would pay for that, like hands down, because I need branching. I need to be able to put something where a client can see the changes and see the updates and give me their feedback, show it to the higher ups, people that need to see it. Government agencies or whatever, there's lots of stakeholders that need to see stuff, but then I still need to be able to publish new blog posts, new updates to static pages on the website without having to figure out how to unpublish and publish specific pages that are just for draft and just in the staging. So I need that. That is the big thing. I wish they would have released that, but we'll see how the individual publishing goes with CMS collections. I think that'll be a partial fix, but I don't think it'll be a full fix. So anyways, those are my thoughts. So Rolando here, you heard it, like all the Apple fanboys defending that they should be given money for things they were released years ago on other platforms. So are you saying I'm like an Apple fanboy? Oh no, defending that they should be given more money for things that were released years ago. Hmm. Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah. So am I defending that? No, I guess I think it should be, I think it should be available. Like they have it. It's built in. Why don't we have it? So yeah, I do think that we should just have it. But I guess what I'm saying is that because it's such a pain in the ass for me, that I would pay it. So I guess, yeah, it could be like Apple saying like, hey, I don't have I need a dongle for my headphones. And you just spend $100 on it because you just need it. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That is a good point. That's interesting. Something to consider. But yeah, it is frustrating. That's interesting. That's a good point. Touche. Well taken. Point well taken. It hurts a little bit, but but yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I'm going to wrap it up here today, before, my Apple, feelings get hurt. Or the comparisons of Apple to Webflow. Cause you guys know, I just dislike Apple as a company, like immensely. So, but now seeing the similarities of what Webflow can be like with Apple is, it's like, But anyways, that being said, it is a good tool. So right now it's the best, but if anything else comes along the way in the future, then hey, maybe we'll switch to that. But for now, we're still on Team Webflow and excited to seeing how we can integrate these new features into our agency and into providing value to our clients. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Rolando, Kevin, thanks so much for stopping by, saying hello. Very much appreciated. And as always, I'll be back here again tomorrow for a brand new stream. Until then, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Andrea, is that a cowboy hat? Oh, jeez. I'll see you in a minute.